comentada. Cualquier duda o comentario, por favor, nos pueden indicar y podemos interactuar directo con Lina.
Okay, Lina, go ahead.
Hi, everybody. Just making sure that you can hear me.
Yes.
Okay. There's an echo from my side, but I'm going to go ahead and just work through it. So if for some reason you need to stop me to correct the audio, just let me know. But I'll go ahead and thank you for allowing me to speak today about the Canitec software. I'll be for about 15, 20 minutes with 5 minutes for questions afterwards. Sorry I couldn't be there in person today. I'm at the NASDAQ convention in Atlanta. So I wanted to make time though to speak to you today about some key features of Chameleon that can benefit you and your laboratory. So I will get to the next slide. I will stop here just
to confirm that the slide has changed. You can see my presentation and the slide advancement. Okay, thank you. So these are the key points we'll be covering today: an introduction and history of Chameleon and where it fits into a laboratory's need to demonstrate compliance. We also want to talk about the enterprise capabilities of Chameleon, as well as its third-party instrument control. At the end, assuming we have some time, we'll touch very quickly on a few of the key Chameleon features that can help you to gain efficiency and increase your productivity in the lab. So first, we'll start with showing you that Chameleon, we've had over 20 years of experience with our chromatography data system and over 30 years of instrumentation experience, including mass spec. And one thing that Chameleon can offer is instrument control of ICs, LCs, GCs, including mass spec in an enterprise environment with a single software platform. And that's a key distinguishing feature of Chameleon. So in talking about why you might choose Chameleon, we say we're completely compliant. And the reason we say that is we meet all of the requirements to enable you to demonstrate data integrity and compliance. We can assist you with setting up the system in such a way that you can demonstrate that compliance to your regulatory agencies. We have a proven productivity boost over major competitors, which I can show you in a minute, and some streamlined workflows that you can implement out of the box, meaning it comes with the software. So also with scalability. What does this word mean? This means you can have a small enterprise, medium enterprise, or large enterprise deployment, and it's very, very easy to scale. And by easy, I mean 3 mouse clicks. That's a very bold statement, but the architecture of our software has been designed to make it easy to scale. Okay, so also this global collaboration. If you have sites in different countries, in a single enterprise architecture, you can share data and you can have great performance across that. There are considerations for your network, but generally that's what we can offer. Also, cloud deployable. If storing your data in the cloud, having your infrastructure in the cloud is something of interest to your company, we can offer support for that. And in an enterprise environment, we can offer true 24/7 business uptime, meaning no interruption to your business if you have network interruptions. And this is a slide where we have tested Chromeleon against other data systems. And through a very scientific study, of course, we can offer 50% fewer mouse clicks, 50% fewer windows that you have to negotiate, which results in a 50% faster analysis time. It's a coincidence that these are all 50-50-50. It's just how the data worked out. We're actually repeating that statistical study this year with the more recent releases of our competitor software. I'm going to skip this slide just in the interest of time here, so we can go on to the compliance, enterprise capabilities, and third-party instrument control. So I'm first talking about compliance. We have to talk about what does data integrity mean? And it really means that you can demonstrate the completeness of your data, that you've captured it all, that you're consistent in the capturing of that data, and of course that your data are accurate. And this is tied in together with the Alcoa idea. Who performed the action? Is it legible? Was it documented at the same time of the action? And have you maintained the original record? And of course, accuracy, that everything must be documented. So how do we satisfy these requirements? First and foremost, through all of our audit trails. In this slide, you see audit trail, audit trail, audit trail, audit trail, audit trail. We have more audit trails for different areas of the software above and beyond what the regulatory agencies are currently requiring. For example, I'll draw your attention to the instrument configuration audit trail. We are logging changes to instrument configurations with the same level of detail that we are monitoring the data audit trails. I'll stop here. Is there a question? We okay? Okay, I'll keep going. So we also have administration audit trails. Now, we are, of course, required to monitor if anyone changes the user management, but we also have audit trails surrounding every action you can take in our administration console. And of course, we have our data audit trails if you're manually integrating or if you're changing the sample names, we're tracking all of that too. Another element of compliance is electronic signature. So if you're wanting to go paperless, a paperless laboratory, this will help you do that. Even if you're not intending to go paperless though, what an electronic signature does is it provides a protection to your data. So it allows you to apply a username and password that then locks your data against future changes. Of course, you can unlock it and make changes and re-sign it, and all of that is part of the data audit trail. Now I'm talking about the scalability. You might have what we would call a workstation deployment of Chromeleon. So you have one instrument or two instruments attached to a computer, and you're storing that data locally on that computer. Now, we have some customers who do that in a compliant environment, but for the basis of large scale or for some compliant customers, what they want to choose is to store their data on network servers. These computers are secured, usually in an IT department, and so you can demonstrate that you physically protected your data, right? In a workstation deployment, someone could, I don't know, smash the computer with a hammer, right? You can't do that if your data are secured on network servers, okay? So that's what we consider an enterprise deployment, would be the storage of your data on these servers rather than storing them locally on these PCs. And another benefit of enterprise, of course, is increased productivity, because now you can stand at any station and process data that's stored remotely on these servers. Okay, so also a key feature of Chameleon is operational simplicity. And what we mean by that term is, again, those fewer mouse clicks, making the software easy to use. And what we're seeing here in the console is something that looks like Outlook for email, Microsoft Outlook or other email applications, and a list of instruments in your enterprise environment. And as you select each instrument from the list on the left, we see an automatically generated set of panels that allow you to interact with that instrument. Okay, I'm going to skip this slide just for the sake of time to show you the administration console. This is your central administration for Chameleon. And whether you're a workstation customer or an enterprise customer, you'll have access to all of these key features that allow you to see an overall picture of your deployment in one place. While this is stored centrally, you have access to this from any workstation. But of course, it's controlled through permission. You determine who has access to this level of data. Now, to talk briefly about the third-party instrument control. We have over 420 drivers for different instruments. Thermo Fisher Scientific instruments, of course, our ICs, LCs, GCs, and mass specs. But we have a very strong list of what we call third-party instruments, meaning the Agilent 11, 12, 1260, 1290, along with Headspace auto samplers, the G1888 and the 7697A, as well as the GC 6850, 6890, 7890 GCs. I also want to call out that we have a contractual arrangement with Agilent where we do code sharing, and they're actually writing drivers specifically for Chameleon. And that's a very powerful thing when you have a partnership between the vendors developing the instrument control. We also have drivers for the Waters Acuity, the Alliance systems, the Shimadzu, PerkinElmer, and the CTC Leap auto samplers, as well as some individual valves that's made by Valco. And also we talked about mass spectrometry and how that integrates into Chameleon in a very seamless way. So with a single software package, you're able to control GC, LC, and IC with mass spec detectors. Of course, right now for instrument control, it's Thermo Fisher mass spec. Now, a few key productivity tools that we can talk about that are key features of Chameleon. And this one ties very well into compliance. We have something called SST, which you've likely heard about before, System Suitability Test. But then we follow that with this Intelligent Run Control, IRC. What this allows you to do is some familiar testing like theoretical plate, tailing factor, resolution. If you set this up in the software, you can ask it to take action if something fails. That's what the intelligent run control piece is. If my SST fails, maybe you'd like it to re-inject. Or maybe you would like it to abort. In a lot of cases, the regulatory agencies would prefer you to not run your samples if your system suitability tests fail. This is a way to automate that. Right? A very key feature. The next thing for productivity is the amount of time you spend integrating the data. What we can offer is the Cobra Wizard, which allows you to graphically optimize your integration without having to set individual integration parameters. So you can use a wizard to define your area of integration, pick which one looks the best, but then it takes those required parameters and inserts them into the methods for you. Now, also, the next thing you have to do often as an analyst would be to overlay your results. And if I have more time, I like to show this live in the software, but I don't have that ability to do that today because every software can overlay chromatograms, but Chromeleon has some very easy tools in order to do this. You can stack them, you can overlay them, of course, everyone can do that. But we've added a lot of normalization into our overlays and also a lot of flexibility in how you order them and can add them and remove them. And that's what we're showing here is that you can overlay them very quickly with the little push pins, little thumbtacks that are next to the injections themselves. But if you like to use shortcuts, you can also use the shift key or the control key to quickly create overlays. And then we also have an option to do it graphically in the ribbon. Now, customization of software is a big topic. We provide a lot of tools out of the box with the software, but if you need to do your own calculations, set up your own variables, it is very easy to do this. Again, other software can offer this feature. What distinguishes Chromeleon is the ease with which you can implement that feature. Just a few mouse clicks and you have the variable that you need. And of course, in a compliance environment, you control who can and cannot do this. And this is showing how to insert your own formulas. If you'd like to define a company-specific calculation by name, and then define it by the calculation you're performing, in this case, adjusting for density, you can store that and validate that in Chromeleon. And then this is showing how you would add that custom calculation to a report. Here's that one we created on the previous slide. And here it is being shown in a table on the report. Our reporting module is spreadsheet based. It looks like Excel, it acts like Excel, but it's even more powerful than Excel because we're connected to your data in the background. If you have Chromeleon, and this is a bold statement, but if you have Chromeleon, there is no reason for you to export your data to Excel and do any calculations there. We can do all of those calculations in Chromeleon. Not only do your regulatory agencies like that, but it's also faster and there's less opportunity for errors in transcription. And this is just showing a little bit about what that spreadsheet looks like and how we use the same formula that Excel uses for calculations that we do in the spreadsheet. This is showing some of the charting capability in Chromeleon so that you can show trends over time in your data. Also queries. Chromeleon has the most flexible querying capabilities because you can query on anything you want, including your own user-defined variable. Sorry about that. So those are the key features, including data mining, that I wanted to show you today. I've ended at the exact perfect time to allow some time for questions if there are any from the audience.
We can go, Lina.
No questions.
If there are no questions, then thank you very much for your time and for allowing me to speak about Chromeleon. I can hear you. It's a little muffled. You're welcome.
Hola, a continuación vamos a tener un break de 5 minutos y posteriormente continuamos. Gracias.
primer equipo ya se fue.
Julio, no, va a bajar ahora. También tienen algunas preguntas ahí para
Ajá.
él. O- Hola, hola, hola. Muy bien, vamos a continuar con nuestra siguiente presentación. Muy bien, para nuestra siguiente presentación vamos a tener igual una transmisión en vivo con una persona que se encuentra en Inglaterra y específicamente vamos a platicar de cuestiones de disolución. Vamos a tocar puntos importantes con la norma CFR 21 para lo que es cuestiones del software de disolución cuando tenemos los sistemas automatizados de disolución, y de una o de otra manera quisiera iniciar preguntándole si alguien tiene a lo mejor algunas dudas u observaciones en relación a la cuestión de los equipos de disolución, sobre todo los espectrofotómetros, los disolutores, con el cumplimiento de la norma CFR 21. Bien, la cuestión es, para nuestra siguiente presentación vamos a tener al señor Keith Wilkinson. Él es de la empresa Automated Lab Systems y ellos crearon un software el cual obviamente nos permite interfazar prácticamente cualquier sistema de disolución de cualquier marca con cualquier espectrofotómetro UV de cualquier marca. Entonces podemos trabajar con equipos muy nuevos o equipos también muy antiguos y de una o de otra manera lograr que esos equipos que quizás se manejan con software que pues ya está un poco desfasado en años, puedan tener un cumplimiento con la norma CFR 21 en la actualidad. Obviamente vamos a hablar de perfiles de disolución, de cómo generar los reportes desde el software IDIS para perfiles de disolución. No sé, aquí quién esté trabajando con perfiles de disolución. Espero que mucha gente. Y bueno, como en la presentación anterior, también vamos a estar abiertos para que puedan sugerirnos o hacernos preguntas. Cualquier cosa, por favor, podemos ahí detener un poquito y escuchar sus comentarios y reanudar la presentación. Bueno, pues vamos a conectarnos con este señor Kit y a iniciar la presentación. También va a haber la transmisión en línea y vamos a empezar entonces.
Hi, Ismail, how are you doing? Hi, can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me? Hello, Ismail, can you hear me? Hello? Hello? Hello, can you hear me? Hello? Hello? Okay, thank you for that. Shall I start? Okay. Can you see my screen? Can you see it now? You can start. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Keith Wilkinson. I'm from Automated Lab Systems in the United Kingdom. Today I will perform for you a short presentation. First of all, a PowerPoint, and then a brief introduction to our dissolution software. You want to translate, Ismail? So my name is, as I said, is Keith Wilkinson. I'm an analytical chemist, worked at Aventis Pharma and Boehringer Ingelheim before I became product manager for Shimazu in the United Kingdom. I'm also a co-founder of Automated Lab Systems, this company. Automated Lab Systems was formed in 1989 by a group of lab scientists to provide a good analytical solution for the laboratory. Today, I present to you our IDIS dissolution platform, which delivers dissolution testing, content uniformity, and assay. Under these testing types, we can also control USB types 1, 2, 3, 4, and 7 dissolution testers. We are also unique in that we have online HPLC and as well as UV detection. This is quite unique, and we will talk briefly about this very soon. Data, as you know, is very important. Data is very expensive. After you have been doing your analysis, the cost of your testing is very, very high. So we provide a very powerful database for storing your data records. Here we see a typical configuration for closed-loop tablet decision systems, consisting of a decision tester, a pump, and a spectrophotometer. The dissolution testers can be from Agilent, Distech, Hansen, Avica, Pharmatex, and Sotax, and so on. It is quite an open system, allowing you to choose the best equipment for your analysis. As well as the spectrophotometers, which can be from Agilent, Jana, PerkinElmer, Thermo, Shimazu, and there are a few others as well. Once you have done your analysis or joint analysis, our software will calculate the percent dissolution in real time, either as a dissolution or as a concentration. As I mentioned previously, we also have systems for fully automated HPLC analysis. Here you can choose HPLC. At the moment, it's only for ChemStation, but we are working for a solution for Thermo and possibly Waters for later this year. This can be used with the dissolution tester, syringe or peristaltic pump, and a very special autosampler which we provide. In this configuration, our ID software is very, very powerful. It will create the sample set and sequence table and transfers this to ChemStation or Empower automatically, as well as Thermo when that becomes available. If we are doing content uniformity or assay, we do not have a graph, but we can present your data in bar graph form, like this. Reporting is very important. We provide a very powerful and visual reporting organizer within our IDIS application, which allows you to drag and drop objects and create automatic templates, which can be used later to link to your records. This is a very typical IDIS report. As you can see, it's very colorful, very well presented, and it looks very, very nice after your results. Our IDIS software can also interface with a variety of LIMS systems, e-notebooks, and is able to connect to LIMS systems if you have testers LIMS, if you have that. So that is a very, very brief summary of what we can offer. What I would like to do now is to perform an IDIS presentation where we can look at how we manage IDIS on the 24-watt CFR. This is the best software you will probably ever see for 21 CFR in terms of user access, record storage and retrieval, presentation, reporting, electronic sign-in, and audit trail. One moment. I was disconnected. I'm trying to get connected again. Can you still see me, Ismail? Okay. So this is our IGES software. First of all, let us look at some of the 21 CFR functionality. Here I am an administrator and I can log in as the administrator into our application. You can create some groups from which to work in, for example, quality control validation, and this allows you to catalog your results in different groups. Under each group, you can create some users very easily, and these users can have different access rights. For example, if we look at quality control, here are the group access rights for quality control, and we can set what each user can access in quality control. For example, cannot delete methods or delete data records. We can, for example, this person, Lucia, will inherit this group rights. For example, Lucia cannot delete methods and delete data. But for example, if you have a user like Isabella, we can say that Isabella is a more senior person and we can give her the right to delete method and data records. This allows different persons to work together, but with different levels of access to the system. We also have in the software some settings where you can set the number of times and attempts, password logon, password expiry log off times for the system, which are all part of the 21 CFR Part 11. Very importantly is the audit trail, and I will come back to this later because many companies talk about audit trail, but the audit trail becomes a very, very important part of the software. And we will see this later when I come back to it. I just want to briefly look at quality control. Here I have defined that our data record needs to be signed. I've defined an analyst group and a supervisor groups. These you can name yourself. This could be in the Spanish language, for example. And you can create, if you wanted to, you can create other levels. Up to 5 levels can be created for signing. Here I have also created some text as requested by 21 CFR Part 11, which is there must be a user meaning to the sign-in. And here the text is created, which I have done earlier. That is the administration for the time being, but we will come back to that briefly later on. Let us look at a very small part of the software, very important part of the software, but one that I just want to briefly mention. In this part of the software, we can connect various instruments. Here we have many drivers from Agilent, or from my company. Other manufacturers such as Distec, for example, Vika, Hansen, all of the Hansen equipment is provided here as drivers, and Jena as well. We support the Jena full range of spectrophotometers, as well as spectrophotometers and baths from other companies. So this part of the software allows you to install drivers and test them to make sure they are working. So let's log in to do some analysis. And here I can select the group I want to perform the analysis. This time quality control. I enter a username and password. And if I'm successful, the software will give me my full name. So I am now this person and I'm in quality control. The ID software has a very powerful way of storing records. We do not store discrete DOS files. Instead, we store your samples using 60 characters for a product name, 60 characters for a method name. We store it by the user who's logged on, date and time, and some other parameters, for example, such as the group that you're logged into, especially when you're networked. To find the records is very simple. I can simply enter a small text and ask the software to find that record for me. And here it will find all of the products beginning with ACET. If I wanted to, I can make that search even smaller by putting my name in. So I'm now asking the software to find all of the records beginning with ACET, where my name is KEITH, and it's found 3 records. Once you have found that record, you click on it, and up comes this presentation here, schematic of your method. Before going on, I keep on forgetting this, but you can, for example, if you wanted to, you can copy this schematic into a Word document, for example, and you can present a report. If you're doing reports, you could present a report on that schematics to anyone or within your company. Sorry, guys. For example, I just want to highlight that because sometimes I forget it. So here's your method. Consists of the dissolution tester, a pump, can be a peristaltic pump, could be a Hansen type syringe pump, and there are different types of pumps we have. Here's your spectrophotometer. This could be a Jena, Agilent, Sotax, Thermo, different types of spectrophotometers. In my method, I have defined a blank and 2 standards. And these I can do very simply. I don't want to go through this right now. It will take a little time. By adding a vessel, create a solution in a vessel, blank or standard, for example. If I say a standard, I can then tell it standard 3, for example. I can give the standard a color. This is very important, where the solution is linked by the color of your tubing. I can then link this vessel to my pump and then to a vessel in the spectrophotometer. You can clearly see the advantage of this. First of all, the vessels in the bath and in the tubing in the bath and in the vessels can be color coded according to the tubing you're using for your dissolution test. Also, this tubing These names you can give yourself. Some companies call them pots, some refer to them as vessels, but you can give the names of these solutions yourself. I don't want to go into much more than this, but just to let you know that you can, for example, you have the choice of normal calculation, multi-component analysis. You have many different things, two wavelength subtractions, and many other possibilities which you can choose in the software. I load my software and I press run. I give it a batch ID. You must give it a batch, otherwise it will not proceed. And the software will proceed to ask me to put my tubing into my blank vessel. Because I've connected the vessel to a pump, it will pump the solution into the cell. However, if you don't connect the tubing to the pump, but directly to the spectrophotometer, you can place the sample in a cell manually. So the software is asking me to remove the tubing from my blank and insert it into my standard. It's now pumping my standard and it acquires a reading for my standard. And I would do the same for my second standard. If the test passes, we can define the criteria under which the test should pass. I'd enter the criteria of 2%, it told me it passed, and I can continue. You can configure that if the test does not pass, the user cannot continue, they can only retry. So I press continue, and the software will now check the temperature of the decision tester, irrespective of which one it is. So the operation with this software is independent of the user decision tester or the spectrophotometer. Once the software has reached the criteria which I set, it will pump a blank solution baseline and then ask me to continue. During the analysis, we have a status window. It tells me how far the test has gone and the time until the next interval is due. I have a very short interval. Obviously, I'm doing a presentation. At the interval, it will pump the solution and then it will take a reading. Let us examine these windows more carefully. By default, we will have the absorbance reading, but I can change that to the speed of the bath. I can add another window. I can change that to the temperature of the bath if I want to, and I can also view the absorbance. All of these can be viewed in real time. If I wanted to, I can ask the software to sort it out, and then I can focus on just one of these displays. On the software as well, if you wanted to, you can see the percent dissolution as the experiment is proceeding. You do not have to wait until it's stopped. And we also have statistics where you can look at the statistics of the experiment and you can view that in real time. Okay, so we have that. What we can do now, the test is completed and we do not have to save the record, it's saved automatically. We can go into a different part of the software now and we can create a simple report which consists of the header, maybe your data, and you can edit this data record to give you, say, what it should be. It can be anything you want to be. And you can have different statistics in your record, in your in this report, and we can also make the scale smaller so this fits onto our graph. If it's too small, we can make the scale even smaller so it fits onto the display. Sorry for that. So this is our typical report. And what we can do as well, so I'm trying to, what we can do as well is that we can add a graph to the report. So the graphs which you have in the system can be added to the report. The report can be any size. It could be 1 page, 2 page, even on the second page, I can have, if I wanted to, anything on that page, including the configuration that I have in my method. So once you've done that, you can save this template, and that can be used some other time. I don't want to dwell on that. I just want to show you one thing because time is running on. We have configured the sign-in. IDIS is quite unique. I'm not sure there may be one other company, a big company, who does it like this. Every page in IDIS has this signature tracking, where we can see if the user has signed the record. We can now, if we wanted to, log into the approval level. And in this level, I'm an analyst. I can log in, but I cannot log in because I'm not a supervisor. And in this level, we can log in and we will see these are all the records that needs to be signed. Okay. I can only sign the ones in blue. And to sign, I first have to view the record, and then it will allow me to sign that record. I then have to add my signature again, and the record will be signed. And it will be removed from the list. One or more records have been signed. Once you've signed the record, we can look back into the application level. We can load our data record. If we view the report, load the template I created earlier. We will see that that record has now been signed. And it's only been signed at the analyst level, and now the supervisor can actually sign that record. So that gives you a synopsis of our IDIS software. Very last point I want to do, because time is running short now, is to show you a little of the audit trail. We have an audit trail which is quite unique. Our audit trail, the audit trail collects lots of data. And it's very, very important that you're able to filter this data out. For example, all of the things I've done here today, all the runs I've done, we can do a query and we can see. It tells me when the run was started, when it was dropped, even my logging on, system log on status. It tells me who logged on, whether or not they were successful, and so forth. So everything I've done in this software will be logged on the audit trail in the system. So I'm coming to the end of my presentation now, just to go back to my PowerPoint and to finish this now. So we've seen IDIS, how we can use the administration to control the system, how we can load and recall our records very intelligently. We saw some of the presentations in terms of the reporting, how we can do the sign-in, and a little on the audit trail. The ID software is very big in 21 CFR. It is the best in dissolution. There's no comparison. It is has built-in 21 CFR all over. And we have a white paper, which if you want, I will send to Canitec, who can translate this and send this white paper to you about the 21 CFR. And this last page gives you an idea or some examples of some of the companies. I should have put a few more on that uses the ID software. We also provide the OEM to SOTAX with the multi-door system. Okay, so I'm here if there's any questions. Ismail, everyone is quiet.
We have a question, kid. Just
Yeah. Okay.
¿Qué son? Buenas tardes. Mi pregunta es, ¿el software IRIS cómo maneja los resultados fuera de especificación?
No escucharon la pregunta. ¿Me la puede repetir?
Buenas tardes. Mi pregunta es, ¿el software IRIS qué evidencia deja para el manejo de los resultados fuera de especificación?
Can someone translate, please?
Okay.
Hello? Yeah. Ismail?
Sí.
I can hear you.
Sí, mi duda es, ¿el software IRIS cómo maneja los resultados fuera de especificación? Es decir, durante la corrida puede que existan resultados que no cumplan con especificaciones. ¿Eso cómo queda documentado?
We have, I didn't show you, but we have in the software, you can configure the specification for the testing. And you can see that specification at the end, whether or not it's complied with that specification. There's another big part of the software which I did not show you. The USB compliance tests can also, the USB compliance test can also be verified in the other software. For example, let me just show you this. In here, we have the USB acceptance. And this USB acceptance, the stages can be configured in IDIS and evaluated. These are the S levels. So yes, you can build up your specification, and then you can ask the software to test the sample against that specification, and it will tell you whether it's passed and failed and how it's failed.
Gracias.
Okay. No problem, no problem. I'm here. I'm waiting for you. No problem.
Disculpen, ¿ya no tienen más preguntas? ¿No? Recuerden, una de las cosas importantes que mencionó Keith y cómo este software nos ayuda al cumplimiento en nuestros laboratorios de lo que es el CFR 21 de una manera más económica, que es a lo mejor como a mí me gustaría decirlo, es el poder utilizar la infraestructura de equipos que el día de hoy tenemos ya en nuestro laboratorio y entonces la conectividad que tiene el IDIS es increíble porque puede utilizar en la mayoría de los casos toda esa infraestructura que nosotros ya tenemos de disolución y llevarla al cumplimiento de CFR 21, que eso realmente es lo que a nosotros nos interesa. Hoy en día con el IDIS no es necesario que si necesitamos hacer una actualización para el cumplimiento, que tengamos que comprar un disolutor nuevo, con un espectro nuevo, con un software nuevo. Se puede realmente tomar la infraestructura que tenemos, conectarla a lo que es el IDIS y obviamente de esta manera poder tener el cumplimiento, ¿sí? Como ustedes lo escucharon o lo vieron, el IDIS puede controlar SOTAX, puede controlar Varian, puede controlar Agilent, puede controlar Perkin-Elmer, puede controlar Shimatsu, puede controlar Thermo, puede controlar Analytic Jena, Hanson. Y pues bueno, nosotros como Hanson es el software que realmente estamos promoviendo, sobre todo ahora con un gran empuje para que todos los laboratorios, apoyarlos de alguna manera para que todos los laboratorios puedan cumplir con lo que es el CFR 21. Obviamente tiene todo el cumplimiento y es un software dedicado a disolución. Entonces, obviamente, si no pasa ese 1 y se va a ese 2 y se va a ese 3, todo esto puede irse acumulando, todo está respaldado y obviamente pues nos va entregando los resultados. Además de tener otra serie de equipos en disolución, ¿sí? Como son muestreadores que nos van a facilitar o llevar en modo automático la disolución a la cromatografía. Porque en muchísimos de los casos estamos haciendo disolución y la estamos llevando a lo que es el HPLC. Y obviamente, pues al llevarla al HPLC también tenemos que hacer muchos de los cálculos manuales. El IDIS tiene también la posibilidad al día de hoy de controlar, para aquellos que tengan Agilent, controla al 100% el Agilent y su muestreador tiene su válvula de inyección. Entonces puede muestrear directo de lo que es el disolutor, hacer la filtración, hacer la dilución e inyectar al HPLC y arrojarme el perfil de disolución a través de lo que es ya el resultado, el software y si se va a S2 o si se va a S3 o si se va a rechazar el resultado, ahí no lo va a decir el software. Entonces ese es el punto importante, cómo las herramientas que nosotros les estamos presentando les van a ayudar al cumplimiento de las normas el día de hoy en su laboratorio. Y en muchos de los casos, como es el caso del CFR, del IDIS, cómo el IDIS se puede adaptar a lo que ustedes tienen. También a lo mejor hace ratito, digo ahorita ya no está Lina, pero aquí está el equipo de trabajo que tenemos de nuestros especialistas a quienes ahorita les voy a presentar. En el caso del Chromeleon, de la misma manera. ¿Por qué se llama Chromeleon el software de Thermo? En el pasado Dionex, pero bueno, Thermo lo adoptó hace 5 años cuando adquirió a Dionex. ¿Y por qué es Chromeleon? ¿Y por qué el logotipo? ¿Sí se fijaron cuál era el logotipo del Chromeleon? ¿Qué era? Un camaleón. Un camaleón que significa adaptación o adaptativo. Cambia de color, puede controlar, al igual que el IDIS, no solamente los equipos Thermo o los equipos Dionex. Controla Agilent, Perkin-Elmer, Shimatsu, Waters. Inclusive aquí los que ya se pudieron acercar, si ustedes se fijan, si ustedes ven, estamos controlando un Acuity Arc con Chromeleon. Y de la misma manera el Empower lo tenemos controlando a un equipo de nosotros. ¿Por qué? Porque bueno, sabemos que el día de hoy hay muchos retos dentro del laboratorio, ¿sí? Sobre todo y no sé, a lo mejor estamos hablando de algo que no está sucediendo en algunos casos, pero yo no sé cuántos de ustedes tengan situaciones que quisieran mejorar para cumplimiento de CFR 21 en su laboratorio. Digo, vamos a levantar la mano, yo no tengo laboratorio, ¿verdad? Pero sé que creo que hay muchos que necesitan este cumplimiento. Y ese es el propósito real de esta reunión. El que ustedes conozcan que existen estas herramientas que pueden ahorrar dinero y que pueden dar un resultado inmediato para el cumplimiento. En el caso de IDIS y KID, que nos está acompañando y todavía nos está escuchando en este momento, es un software que tiene un desarrollo, no sé, quizás como de 25 años. Yo tengo aquí de conocerlo 22 y de que hemos estado trabajando juntos. Y tiene todo el sustento internacional, todas las certificaciones, este software, y el cual pues hoy ponemos a su disposición. Lo mismo con el Chromeleon. No solamente tampoco el Chromeleon controla los cromatógrafos de gases de termo, puede controlar casi cualquier cromatógrafo de gases que tengan ustedes instalado y que el día de hoy podamos pensar que es obsoleto en nuestro laboratorio porque el software no está cumpliendo. Entonces, si ese es este caso, la verdad háganoslo saber y con muchísimo gusto podemos ir a su laboratorio, darles una demostración. Aquí, pues obviamente con nuestro equipo de trabajo podemos trabajar en lo mismo. El día de hoy traemos de Hanson los nuevos desintegradores. Es un desintegrador que se ve ahí muy chistoso, pero el modelo más avanzado trae su software y en automático nos da el perfil de desintegración. Yo no necesito graficarlo, el equipo lo va a graficar de modo automático, conforme va disminuyendo o se va desintegrando la tableta. Cuando él sensa el 100% de la tableta que yo le acabo de tirar, él sabe que ese es el 100% y de ahí conforme se va desintegrando, a través de magnetos que tiene la canasta y que tiene ahí un sensor, va sabiendo cuánto va disminuyendo por la desintegración la tableta. Entonces todo esto por el momento ahorita lo vamos a ver, más tarde vamos a tener otra presentación un poquito más encaminada hacia lo que es estudios de bioequivalencia, algo de HPLC, pero hasta este punto hemos tocado en los tres casos lo que es el cumplimiento con algunas normas, sobre todo CFR 21. No sé si haya dudas o haya comentarios o algo que ustedes quieran tocar sobre CFR 21, ya sea en IDIS o disolución o en HPLC, Chromeleon, y pues con gusto ahorita les podemos orientar o responder sobre esas dudas. No sé si hay alguna pregunta. Y si no, pues bueno, los invitamos a que vean nuestros equipos y ya creo que en una media hora más o 35 minutos estaremos con los alimentos. Entonces les agradezco su atención en esta primer parte y pues bueno, los dejo bueno, déjenme presentarles al equipo de trabajo, ¿verdad? En Canitec somos más de 60 personas ya el día de hoy, ¿sí? Tenemos aquí en Guadalajara un equipo de trabajo, que por ahí está Gabriel, que es uno de nuestros ingenieros de servicio, Gabriel Aguilar, a lo mejor ya lo conocen algunos de ustedes, Isaac Barajas, que está en el área de ventas, junto con Judith por allá está también en el área de ventas. Nuestros especialistas en la Ciudad de México tenemos a Fátima Cuevas, a Mariano Martínez, que está aquí, y nuestro equipo de mercadotecnia, que tenemos allá a Xochitl, Flor, que está por allá, Ismael, que está ahí junto con Isaac, que están ahí en la parte operativa, Javier, que es nuestro gerente de servicio, y pues bueno, todo el equipo está a su disposición, tanto aquí en Guadalajara como en la Ciudad de México. Muchísimas gracias y continuamos en un ratito.
En algunos casos se cuantifican los metabolitos
Ya.
porque su concentración es mayor al fármaco inalterado. Entonces, por eso debemos hacer también nuestra revisión más extensa. ¿Hasta aquí alguna duda? En el numeral 9 también dice que al validar el método se debe analizar el fármaco inalterado, excepto en los casos que se mencionaron anteriormente. También la norma en el numeral 9.191 nos habla de la selectividad. Dice que debemos demostrar que nuestro método analítico no interfiere en los componentes endógenos. Entonces nos pide que utilicemos al menos un análisis de 6 unidades de fuentes diferentes de plasma y que sus metabolitos y sus anticoagulantes, las sustancias que pueden estar presentes en la muestra, no abarcando el 80% de la curva, eso quiere decir que ese método, sí, aunque no cumple el 5%, sí está cubriendo el 80% de la biodisponibilidad. También a veces nosotros establecemos el 5%, pero ya en la vida real, ya en la concentración real, a veces ese 5% nos queda muy amplio, porque a lo mejor el CO que estamos obteniendo en población mexicana es mucho más alto de que nos está diciendo la revisión bibliográfica internacional. Por eso ahora los auditores, cuando van a auditar, antes el desarrollo del método no era auditable, pero ahora ya porque están viendo en qué nos estamos basando para el diseño de la curva de calibración. Bueno, entonces este es un cromatograma de límite de cuantificación de Talalafil. En esta estamos obteniendo una concentración de 15 nanogramos por mililitro. ¿La que sigue? Bueno, como esos medicamentos fáciles, como el paracetamol, el ibuprofeno, la ampicilina, todos esos ya han quedado, no obsoletos, sino más bien entonces